Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite girl, Bo Vintage, and today's video is a story time. This is the story of my landlord from motherfucking hell. Okay, this man was actually clinically insane, and this is actually the story that I talked about in my last Botox video, because I really want to urge you guys to not move out until you're ready. It's not something that you want to do if you're not mentally and financially prepared for it, okay? So let me get into the story, because it's a fucking roller coaster. At the end of 2012, I was being not rebellious per se, but my mother didn't want me to live in her house anymore because I wasn't following her rules. As old as I was, I felt like I didn't need to follow her rules, but because I was still living at home, I should have been following her rules, and I just wasn't. She ended up telling me that I had until November 1st to get my life and pack my shit and go. But when November came, I still was not ready, and so she actually did allow me to stay until December. Because she allowed me to stay until December, I felt the pressure. I felt that I had to leave, so I did. I was looking online for an apartment for the longest time. Now, at this time, I would say that I was very much so not financially secure. And even though it was going to be me and Shooter living in the apartment together, I still felt like we were just not ready at all, because we were both a hot ass mess, okay? I had no money saved in my account. I was broke as fuck, living check to check to check to check, okay? On some Big Sean shit, and it was just not okay. I was working part-time, but like part-time where they give you a lot of hours, they just don't have you on as full-time, and then I was working actually full-time. We had what money we had, but it was definitely not enough for our first and last. It even combined, like, we still had other expenses that we were dealing with at the time, and we weren't, like I said, we weren't ready to move out. We weren't really adults, and yeah, like, it was just a mess. Anyway, I looked online for apartments. I tried to schedule to see, and at this time I figured, okay, I'm gonna live in a basement apartment, because one, I know usually for basement apartments there are no credit checks, it's cheaper, and I just felt like living in a basement apartment was the better thing for us rather than living in a high-rise. I find an apartment online, I send the pictures to Shooter, he's like, oh, it's nice, like, that's a nice basement apartment. And I was like, yeah, it's really dope. So I wanted to go check it out. Shooter couldn't make it that day, so I went by myself. Big mistake. When I got there, the landlord was a Chinese man, and he didn't speak much English. He showed me the basement apartment, but they were renovating at the time. It was legit, like, there was dust everywhere. Walls were being torn down, like, they were renovating it. I saw the potential of the place, but even that was false, because what was on the internet didn't look anything like what he was showing me, and I'll get into why I did it in a second, but it didn't look like what was on the internet. What was on the internet was already furnished. It was already, like, it was done. So I figured, he said that he was just renovating it because the last tenant just moved out and he wanted to change a few things. So I'm thinking it's the same apartment, it just looks a little different than what was on the computer or on Kijiji. Because of how urgent it was, I decided that we were going to take the apartment anyway, because we didn't have any options anyway. We had looked at two apartments. The one that we actually wanted to move into, it was like a low rise, and their landlord or the superintendent, whoever looks at the applications, was gone for like 3 or 4 days. It was very close to the time we were moving out, and we didn't have the time for them to like come back and let us know if our application got approved or not. And that place was actually doing credit check. We actually we left our deposit with that apartment, but then we ended up going to pick up the deposit because we weren't sure what their answer was going to be, and this other guy said that we can move in as soon as we're ready. So obviously, because of the urgency and because my mom was like, you got to go, honey, we decided to move into the basement apartment instead, and it was cheaper, and it was all inclusive, and yeah, like down to the Wi-Fi, okay? So we decided to move into this place instead. On the day that we had packed all our stuff, well, we barely had anything. I left a lot of stuff at my mom's house. It was basically just clothes that we brought because the place was furnished. We put whatever else in his cousin's truck, and his cousin drove us over to the apartment. When we got to the apartment, or when you enter into this apartment, you go through the garage. So the garage is basically your entryway. As we walked to our front door, it was like a wood door and it had glass windows all the way down. It's just like a door that you would think you would like have in like a dining room if you wanted to close off your dining room. That's the kind of door that it was, and it was like that was our front door. So that was one of the red flags, but that door wasn't there when I went to go check it out in the first place, so I had no idea. So it was kind of like if we didn't put up a curtain, they would be able to see into our apartment at all times. Not okay. As you walk in and you're in the hallway, to your left is what's supposed to be the kitchen. The kitchen was not done. Mind you, he told me everything would be done by January 1st, and when we got there it was January 4th. So that's 3 extra days for him to get his life and get the fucking apartment finished. The kitchen was nowhere near finished. There was a ginormous stove top on the kitchen floor, like a gas stove top on the kitchen floor, waiting to be installed, along with a counter that was supposed to be put in as well. And so the kitchen wasn't done, but when he was greeting us when we got there, he said, don't worry about that, that's gonna be finished within the week. So I ain't tripping. Like, as long as you tell me it's gonna be done, as long as he gets done, I ain't tripping. So we go into the apartment now, and it's literally just a room and a bathroom. We were supposed to be paying $880 a month for this basement, full basement apartment with kitchen, bathroom, and den, okay? We thought that the room next to our room or apartment, like our main our bedroom, basically, because it was like a bachelor with a bed inside and nothing else. There was no area for a den. The den was outside of the apartment, but Shooter's cousin went to open the door to where the den was supposed to be, and there was a Chinese man sitting in a fucking rocking chair reading or listening to music or something like that. Like, he opened the door, seen the guy, and closed the door back so quick because we were under the impression that that was our den, and that's what the sliding door was. And that's why when I first got to the apartment and they were renovating, I didn't get to see the sliding door because somebody else was living in the basement with us. I didn't agree to share a basement with anybody. I was not informed that there was going to be somebody else living in our basement. We had just signed the fucking lease, so it was kind of like we were just fucking sailing up Schitt's Creek, okay? So everything from day one, from the day that we moved in, was a fucking shit show. I go to communicate with the landlord, get the Wi-Fi password and everything, because at this point, whether we like it or not, this is home and we're gonna have to make it the fuck work. There was a little fridge inside of the apartment right behind the door, though. It was in a very inconvenient space, and the fridge was quite petite. It might as well have been a mini fridge because it was so damn small. He told us that there was going to be a flat screen TV in the apartment as well. There was no TV. We did have like a nice armoire in there to put our clothes in and stuff. That'll give him, and a nice little bed set, but that was it. The bathroom was also unfinished. The first night, because I was working full time, like, I cannot not shower. Like, I have to bathe my skin. So the first night I had to shower upstairs in in my landlord's house. I had to shower in their shower. It was disgusting. Like, I wanted to wear fucking slippers in the fucking shower because it was so gross. And I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, I was in the shower crying because I'm just like, why is this my life right now? Like, why did my mom kick me the fuck out? And that is, at that moment, I just had so much regret. I'm like, fuck, I should have just been listening to her, all this shit, because now I'm up here in this disgusting bathroom, and I don't know, I was just at a complete loss. Like, I was going through so many emotions at that point because I'm just like, this is my first apartment and already it doesn't feel like home. Like, I'm not excited to live here. It's a fucking mess. So I shower, I creep back downstairs into my apartment, and they said that by tomorrow the hour shower would be done and our bathroom would be done and blah blah blah. Okay, fine, cool. The next day I went to work, came home, whatever. The bathroom was done, minus the counter space, because it was just a little, like, it was a little sink, but he had shown me the counter that he was putting in, so he never ended up putting in the counter ever. Okay, despite that we ended up living there for about we ended up living there for 6 months, and he never ever ended up putting the counter into the bathroom. But I wasn't tripping about that. Like, honestly, my main issue was my kitchen, and this is why. Every time I would see him, I would ask him, when is the kitchen going to be done? Because there were 2 kitchens down there. There was my kitchen or kitchenette, and then a little further down the hall there was like a communal kitchen. I am about to fucking cook in there. Like, it was a gas stove, there was counter space, there was a sink. It was a little kitchen for the other guy that lived in the basement to be using. The other guy that I did not agree to live with, okay? He's like, for the time being, you guys can just use that kitchen. Your kitchen will be done soon. I'm like, when is soon? Like, honestly, say it was like a week that had passed by and the kitchen still wasn't done. Like, legit, every time I would see him, I'd be like, yo, when's the kitchen gonna be done? Because I don't want to cook in the other kitchen. It's not clean. They don't clean it. I shouldn't have to clean other people's mess. Like, it's disgusting. Sorry if my story's like all over the place, you guys. Like, honestly, it's a lot. We had speculations from the jump that he was coming into our apartment when we were gone to work, or just like, you know, when we weren't home. We used to like set like a little trap. Basically, we'd put like a little piece of paper into the door. If when we came home the paper had fallen before we got there, then we knew that somebody had come into the apartment. Or we would like leave the laundry bin behind the door, and if the door got pushed open and the laundry bin got pushed back, then we knew that somebody came into our apartment. And these things kept happening. Our laundry soap went missing. Little things would be like touched, and y'all already know me. If you watch my Reddit video, you know I lose my shit when my things are touched. Not to mention, this is a fucking stranger. At the end of the day, this is a stranger, landlord or not. This is a stranger. This is a strange little man that lives upstairs with his entire family, and like, I'm pretty sure he had foreign exchange students there as well, and there was way more people in the house than there should have been upstairs. And let me talk about that for a second, because I used to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? At 5 o'clock in the morning, before I have to wake up out of my bed, his little fucking daughter, must have been maybe 6 years old, was upstairs playing the piano constantly every morning at 5 a.m. waking me up out of my bed. Not to mention, this fucking asshole would be like, he would wake up in the morning, I guess he had like phlegm in his throat, and he would be every single morning. I kid you not. He was fucking doing that every single morning, and it was traveling to the basement. Like, the basement should be soundproof. No, it was not. He basically was just clearing his throat every single morning, and it was so disgusting, and it would literally wake both of us up out of the bed, and we would fucking just kiss our teeth and try to fall back asleep. But it was so impossible, because on top of the fucking coughing and shit, his daughter is playing. Mary had a little fucking lamb. For what reason, I don't know. Like, legit every morning. And I'm like, you have people living in your basement. And the little fucking daughter too, sorry for calling her fucking, but the little fucking daughter, she would always be running up and back and forth, and the parents had no control over her. She spoke fluent English. She didn't sound like she spoke Chinese at all, but they always spoke Chinese, and so they could not discipline her for the life of them. And I'm like, yo, send the little girl down here. I'll beat her ass. Okay, I will beat her ass if you need me to. She was running back and forth. It sounded like they had a pet fucking horse upstairs. I was so angry. Like, I was living there angry, and this is going on for 5 months out of the 6 months that we lived there, okay? That is the mini shit that we had to deal with. Waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning when I don't have to be up till fucking 7. Piano noises and fucking horse galloping. What the fuck? So because he said that we would have the Wi-Fi, but we didn't know that so many people lived in the house. Obviously, if a lot of people live in the house, there's going to be too many people on the Wi-Fi because 90% of the people that lived in the house were students upstairs living in whatever, how many rooms he had. There were students in those rooms upstairs, plus the guy in the basement. So everybody's connected to the Wi-Fi. He gives us the password for the Wi-Fi, and it's slow as a fucking tortoise. Like, it was so slow. So fucking slow. I'm like, no, it ain't going down like that. Like, I can't even do this. So we ended up having to set up our own internet, even being promised internet. Then back to the fucking TV. He said we were gonna have a nice flat screen TV. He brings in a TV with a big old back on it. Talked about he's gonna mount it onto the wall. Bitch, where? Like, no. And the TV was not even big. Like, it was like probably 32 inches. Like, it was a small ass TV, maybe 36 inches. It was not no flat screen TV. I don't even know. Like, it was fucking stupid. We had a cat. Shout out to Monroe, R.I.P. Monroe. We weren't supposed to have a cat, which is okay. We weren't supposed to have a cat. You know, if you can't have a cat, you can't have a cat. But we did. We had one. And anytime she would go into heat, we would leave either the TV on or the laptop playing music. This man legit came into our apartment on numerous occasions and turned our fucking TV off. Turned off my laptop. Came downstairs one day and requested for us to not play hip hop. Who the fuck are you talking to? What do you mean don't play hip hop? No. Don't tell me what the fuck, because I'm paying for this fucking apartment. So if I want to play my fucking hip hop music, I'm gonna fucking play my hip hop music. Like, no. So, like I said, I'm sorry that the story's all over the place because I'm trying to remember all the scenarios that happened, but because they happen here, there, and everywhere, like, it's hard for me to, like, tell you guys exactly what happened in order other than, like, the actual structure shit of the apartment. So the kitchen, we're 2 months in, kitchen's still not done. We still have to use the other fucking kitchen. Because of the kitchen not being done in the first month, we spent so much money on eating out. It was ridiculous. Like, we like to go grocery shopping, we like to cook our own food. We don't like to eat out like that unless we're going on like a date. Like, we don't want to like be purchasing pizza and fucking Swiss Chalet. Like, no, we just want to eat what we cook. Because there was no kitchen, we didn't even know that we could use the other kitchen at the beginning, because we thought it was the other guy's kitchen. So because our kitchen wasn't done, we were spending so much money on takeout, and it was actually ridiculous. And so I told him, I'm like, look, I can't keep wasting my money like this. I need to go grocery shopping. I want to be able to cook my own food. He's like, okay, tomorrow. I call the contractor and he'll come finish it tomorrow. But he told me that the contractor hurt his back and that's why it's taking so long. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Don't tell me what's wrong with your contractor. If that's the case, then you get a new fucking contractor. Don't be hiring your fucking friend. I don't care if he threw his back out. I don't give a fuck if he's dead. Get a new contractor and fucking finish my kitchen because I want to cook food. Like, you're upstairs, you're eating your fucking rice every day. Let me fucking be able to cook my fucking food, okay? And I'm not saying that to be racist. Like, they were legit cooking rice every day. The basement smelled like fucking rice all the time because that's all they fucking cooked. I'm like, do you guys know how to cook anything else? Anyway. Jesus. 3 months now, we're there. Kitchen's still not done. So it's March. Kitchen's not done. I'm like, look. Oh, so basically what happened was I paid my rent the first month. The second month came and the kitchen wasn't done. So I gave him half of the rent, okay? I said, here's half of the rent. You'll get the rest when you finish the apartment because the apartment's not done. I still don't have this, that, and whatever. Everything that you said on Kijiji that I would be getting, I don't have those things. So I'm paying you what I think you're worth right now, or what I think this apartment is worth. So I cut it in half and I gave him $440 instead of giving him $880. I said, you'll get the rest when you finish this shit. The next day, you guys, he had the contractor, the same contractor that hurt his back, the same fucking contractor that hurt his back was there trying to fix my fucking kitchen. They're bright and early. Oh, okay, so I realized that he wants to get paid. He wants his money. However, the contractor came, he started doing what he was doing, but he didn't finish that day. And I'm like, what? How long does it take to fucking install a stove? Like, why is it taking this long? Instead of installing the stove that was in my way for almost 3 months now, on the floor blocking the it was just a fucking hazard. First of all, instead of installing that, he installed 2 crack fucking burners. Okay, 2 crack burners. It's basically like something you would see in a college dorm or a trap house. It's not something that you would see in somebody's house. Like, I was like, is this a fucking joke? Like, he's like, and then he tried to explain to me that the fucking stovetop is too wide. I'm like, but you knew that beforehand. You obviously knew that. You obviously took measurements. You had it laying on the floor here. Now you're telling me it's too big to install? What? Why wouldn't you say that before? You told me I was gonna have a full kitchen. I don't even have cupboard space. I don't even have fucking counter space. So what the fuck are you telling me? I was legit so mad. Both of us were so mad. Like, me and Judah were just not having it. I'm like, honestly, I'm not paying $880 for this apartment. I'm really not. I'm not doing it. I don't even care. FYI, you guys, you cannot withhold rent. I learned that the hard way, but you can't do it. Like, if you agree to pay a certain amount, then you agree to pay a certain amount. I didn't know that at the time. Now I know. So if your landlord is giving you problems, don't be withholding your rent, because you just can't. When you guys have to go to court, it's gonna be a big hullabaloo. Okay. Instead of paying him $880 now I just paid him whatever I felt like, because I was just so irritated with the whole entire situation that I was paying him what I felt like, and it got to the point where I stopped paying, period, because of all the shit that was going on upstairs. The fact that he kept coming into my apartment, invading my space when I was not home. I just was not paying. So I'm gonna say we're 4 months in now. We're 4 months in. It's April, mid-April, I'm gonna say. And mind you, one of the reasons too I stopped paying, even though I was on EI, I had gotten laid off, so we didn't really have a lot of money to begin with. It was just Shooter had his job, I had EI, but like, because I was a shopaholic, I was like, bitch. I was really just going to buy whatever I felt like. I felt like I didn't need to pay this idiot because, one, technically the lease that we signed, we didn't have a lease for us to sign. So technically, we could get away with a lot because we didn't sign a lease. We agreed to pay him whatever, but there was no real lease. The lease that we got was printed offline. We could get away with a lot more because he didn't have a signed actual lease. Like, he was just a cash guy. Like, he just wanted cash. If you had cash, he would let you live there, kind of thing. And so we stopped paying rent for the simple fact that I was laid off, and it was just so much nonsense going on that we didn't feel like we should pay, which is wrong. I will say that it was wrong at the time, but if you guys live there, you would stand. Like, me telling you the story is not even like it's not the same. You all would have to really live there and experience this man for yourself, especially the whole coming into the apartment when we weren't home. Like, that was just like icing on the cake for me. I don't do that. Like, no. And that's the thing about living in basement apartments too. It can happen to anybody. If you live in a basement apartment, like, you can have a crazy fucking landlord that will come in and snoop through your shit. It's fucking April. He wants his rent. We had just gotten home from wherever. I was chilling in the bed in my fucking bra. We hear him come downstairs and bang on the door. Our light in the house was off because we didn't want anybody to know we were there to begin with. But he came downstairs and he's banging on the door. We don't answer. He goes upstairs, comes downstairs, maybe like, I'm gonna say an hour later. And at this point, it's like 10 o'clock at night. He comes downstairs banging on the door. Talking about, I know you're in there. I know you're in there. All this shit. Like, the door's about to fly off the hinges, you guys. Like, he's legit banging on the fucking door. Invading. I don't give a fuck. It's after 10. You should not be contacting me unless it's between the hours of fucking 8 and fucking 5 p.m. You're not allowed to fucking, or 6, whatever. You do not have the right to come knock on my door at 10 o'clock at night for nothing if you're my landlord. Like, you don't. As a landlord, he definitely did not follow landlord protocols, and we learned that once we got to court. Goes upstairs, comes back downstairs maybe 10 minutes later. Comes downstairs, and we hear keys jingling. No fucking way. Because we did not respond when he said, you know, we're fucking there. So if we were not there and he's banging on the door thinking that we're inside, and then goes upstairs and comes back downstairs with the key to come open the door, that means that when we really aren't there, he has been coming into our apartment. So this basically just confirmed it for us and pissed us off even more. So we hear the keys jingling, like he's about to push key and come inside our fucking apartment. So Shooter went to go stand behind the door because he said, yo, if he comes in here, I'm knocking him the fuck out. So I'm like, okay, do you, boo? I'm here for you. I support you 100. So he's fucking standing by the door. The guy puts his key in the door, turns it, pushes the door open. Shooter slams the door back in the man's face, and the man's cussing outside of the door, talking about he wants his rent, blah 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 blah. Granted, we should have paid, but fuck you, nigga. Like, no, you're not gonna fucking be disrespecting me. I don't give a fuck, home or not. I do not care. We push the door closed or whatever. Fucking Shooter's in his fucking boxers, okay? He's in his boxers. He opens the door, goes outside, and the man backs up and goes to the fucking where the stairs are that lead upstairs. So he backs up and he's cussing, and Shooter's like, yo, don't you fucking come in my house ever again, blah blah blah, going off on the man's going off on him. The man I need to do an example of this, hold on. So the man is freaking out, pissed. You can't even understand what he's saying 99% of the time. His accent was so thick, and he had like a mental disorder. Like, I really do think that. I'm not just saying that because like I think that someone was wrong with him. So he's there with the thickest accent ever. You can't understand a word he's saying. He rips off his jacket, struggling to get out of it, and goes like, slams the fucking jacket on the fucking stairs. Like, he was so overly dramatic, it was ridiculous. Hold on. So he slams his jacket, and Shooter's getting ready to square up with him. Like, he's like, enough is enough. Like, this is too much. So I'm like, either we're gonna have to duke it out right now or what. The wife is on the stairs. The little fucking annoying ass little pet horse daughter is on the stairs, all fucking watching. They're not even telling it's 11 o'clock at night. Why is a little 6-year-old girl even awake? Like, she should have been in her bed sleeping. She's downstairs in the Gaza, in the mix-up. The mom's on the stairs talking about let's go French. She's basically trying to get him to come upstairs, like basically saying like this is not good and blah 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 blah. It kind of dies down, but we go back into the apartment and we cool off because this is our first apartment. We've never experienced a landlord before. This is our first impression of what a landlord might be like, and it was actually fucking insane. At this point, I'm contemplating like filing a report because I knew that we were going to end up going to court. We're like, okay, we gotta get out of here. We didn't know what the fuck to do. We're like, okay, we gotta move, but let's just stay until we save up enough money to go somewhere else, because once they evict us, we're still gonna have at least 30 days to get out before we, like, you know what I mean? So we had made the decision, the financial decision, to wait to get evicted before we have to leave. Closer to the end of April, he basically served us before we could serve him. So we were planning on going to the landlord tenant board and serving him, but we just hadn't, we procrastinated, and our mistake. That was our mistake. We did not do what we were supposed to do as tenants to file a claim against him. And so he ended up serving us first. You snooze, you fucking lose. He slid some shit under our door, and we read it, and it basically said we have to be in court on this day. So let's just fast forward to fucking court. We show up, he shows up, and the court basically tells us like there is a mediator here if anybody would like to go into the mediation room to resolve the issues at hand first. Try to resolve the issues first and then come in here and get a ruling. Then you could do that. So we decided to take mediation because we didn't know what to expect from this because he served us, we didn't serve him. We go into the mediation room. There's a lady in there, and she off the bat knew that this guy was insane and that he was ridiculous. Like, she fucking knew because we felt her siding with us. we explained everything to her, and she explained everything to he tried to explain whatever to her, and he does a lot of yelling. Like, he doesn't do too much talking. Like, he just yell at the top of his lungs for no reason. So we're trying to communicate, we're in mediation, and we're basically not getting anywhere because he kept lying in there and saying things that weren't happening, and two, he was being disrespectful. So we're trying to get this mediation thing done. We end up coming to an agreement in the mediation, and the mediator's going over the agreement, and this man's like, no, I didn't agree to that. I'm like, the fuck, we just sat here and agreed to pay this much, we'll give you this much, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, that's not enough, blah blah blah. Shut the fuck up. Like, stop this. Like, you want this or you get none. Like, pick one, my nigga. So that's the attitude that I had. The fucking mediator was getting pissed now. She's like, this is not getting resolved in here. You guys are gonna end up both losing if you guys just go straight in there and try to figure it out. So we finally come to an agreement. I'll insert the only thing that I could find. I was pretty sure that I had videos of the apartment, but I couldn't find any on my hard drive, and I was searching for hours last night. I went to bed at like 7 a.m. So I will insert what was supposed to happen in terms of how much we were supposed to pay and for everything to be settled and buried, okay? Once we were finished mediation, we went into the courtroom to get our ruling, or whatever the hell you want to call it, and everything that happens in the courtroom is recorded. So the judge made the mistake of saying that we would either pay by a certain date or move out by the certain date, not both. So it's either or. So he's like, if you move out by the 30th, I think it was, then you do not, or the 31st. If you move out by the 31st of May, then you don't have to pay. We were like, me and Shooter looked at each other like, good, the fuck, perfect. We will move out before that. We never said anything, but we were like, okay, good. We'll move out before the 31st because that way we win. Like, we don't have to pay anything, we're good to go, we're golden. So like I said, it was end of April. We started, once May came, we started trying to figure out where we were gonna go next. We end up moving out of the apartment on the 29th or the 28th, okay? End up moving out of the apartment on the 29th or the 28th of May, which is before the 31st, which meant that we shouldn't have to pay whatever was owing. We just get out and get out of the man's hair and go our separate ways, mind our business, you know, drink water and then be cool. So we move out. As we're moving out, they're basically on the balcony watching us. The little girl is screaming on the balcony, leave the cat! Leave the cat, bitch! If you don't shut your fucking ass up. I was so mad. I was like, shut up, please. Like, just shut up. Like, shut the fuck up. I was so irritated, but I was so relieved at the same time because I'm just like, okay, yes, like, we're moving out finally. We moved out. We actually didn't move out and end up living together. We figured, let's just not live together for now. We'll go our separate ways and get an apartment together later. He stays in Toronto. I went to like fucking, I think, Ajax. So fast forward to September, October maybe, I had gotten a job as a flight attendant and I was staying at my mother's house. One afternoon, or the landlord decided to show the fuck up to my mother's house. You process this and let me know how the fuck this man got my mother's address. Because like I said, the lease that I brought it. He doesn't know my previous address. But I'm gonna tell you guys how he got my previous address. So he shows up to my mother's house. My mother's boyfriend is like about to come inside the house. Shooter's about to I think open the door. Shooter was on the inside of the house. I was upstairs. He was about to open the door, and the fucking landlord is walking across the grass about to go up the stairs to the fucking front porch, and he basically asked my mom's boyfriend for Shooter. He has a paper in his hand. He has his phone like this, trying to take a picture of when Shooter opens the door. So Shooter is about to open the door. He doesn't even know that the fucking Chinaman is outside of the door. He just sees fucking my mom's boyfriend. He opens the door and the Chinaman there trying to take a picture of Shooter. Shooter closed the door so fast and the man's face is like, what are you doing? Like, and so my mom's boyfriend, I guess, kindly asked him to get off of the fucking porch, because why are you here trying to take pictures of people? Like, no, if you have documents to drop off the documents, but don't fuck around. First of all, we didn't even know. First of all, we're under the impression that we're done with this man because we've moved out before the 31st, and like, it's just case closed. Like, we don't have anything more to do with him, and at this point we just feel like he's haunting us. So he ends up leaving the paper, which is more papers to say we have to go to court this day now. And we're just like, what? So he basically refiled a claim. I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, how are we going back to court for the same shit? No, I'm not wasting any more time on this. No more energy. Go your fucking separate way. Hold the L. We're gonna hold our L. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's done. Like, please, like, leave us the fuck alone. Yeah, so he's haunting us now. So now we have to go to court a different day. Fucking irritated because I'm like, yo, I don't want to go to court for this. Like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't have time to waste. We did what we were supposed to do on our part. Why are you back? Like, what? He was like a fucking cockroach. Like, tried to kill that shit just come back. He just don't die. He won't die. Like, just go away. So we ended up going to court again. The court was basically trying to fucking ask us if we have a, like, the court was just doing too much that day. They were trying to say if we have a car that we could sell to pay him, if we have any, he tried to tell them that we have a laptop. I'm like, mind your fucking business. Don't worry about what we got. Like, boo-boo. Don't try. First of all, he was stalking me because I'm like, when I asked him how he got my mom's address, he tried to say that he hired a private investigator. No, you fucking didn't. He got my mom's address from going into my panty drawer and fucking seeing where my mail gets delivered to, because I didn't have mail coming to his apartment. That's where he got my mom's address from. And that's what really, really pissed me off. I'm like, don't come to my mom's house ever again. You don't want that fucking problem. Like, don't come to my mom's house because it will not be pretty for you. So we're in fucking court now, and basically it still doesn't get resolved. I told him, I'm like, I'm not employed right now, so realistically, this, like, we're not gonna get anywhere with this. The court system told us that if we move out by a certain date, we would not have to pay, and that just is what it is. We followed the rules. He tried to tell, we moved out on the 29th, I think. He tried to tell them that we were there until way into June. I'm like, are you fucking retarded? I have fucking messages, text messages from the day that I was getting picked up. So how are you gonna tell me, how are you gonna fucking tell me that I was there longer than I was? No, I wasn't. He tried to tell them that we were there way into June. No. We moved out because, specifically because we were told if we move out by a certain date, we wouldn't have to pay over $2,000, almost $3,000 to this fuckboy. So obviously, what do you think we're gonna do? You think we're gonna fucking stay? No, we would obviously have moved out on time. Like, don't try that shit. Like I said, he used to lie a lot. So that was that court date. That court date didn't get resolved. They said we had to come back another day. At that point, I was like, no, I'm not doing any more court. I told Shooter he can fucking deal with it. I'm not dealing with it no more. I'm not going to no more court dates. I'm not wasting my time on this fucking man. Like, no. Fast forward to, I'm gonna say the summertime, maybe August. I got a call from the fucking police, okay? Because y'all know the police just love to call my phone. So I got a call from the fucking police. Thankfully, they was not looking for my ass, but they were trying to, I guess they were trying to get an understanding on what was going on or what had happened with me and the landlord, because somebody else had filed a complaint against him, and I guess they went and did the research to see who had lived there previously and found me and decided that they wanted to contact me, or they asked me to send them in detail everything that happened in the time that we lived there and whatnot. And so I did. I sent that over to them. I gave them my email address, and I told them if they want, a person that has filed the complaint wants to reach me, to give them my phone number, and I will gladly tell them the fucking tea. I will gladly give them every little bit of information that I have about this fucking crazy man. He was just, oh my god, he was fucking crazy. Like, could you imagine coming home every day and feeling like somebody has been in your apartment? Like, it's not really fucking good. Like, it's not a good feeling. It makes you feel really uneasy. That's basically all that happened, and that is why I definitely urge you guys to not move out of your parents' home until you have at least $5,000 saved in your bank account that is untouched, until you are mentally ready to move out. Anyway, that's the story on my psycho fucking landlord. It was a nightmare. Like, I would have much rather sleeping on a fucking street in a fucking sleeping bag before moving into that man's house on any day, in any weather condition. I don't give a fuck. He was horrible. A part of it was my fault. I will take the blame and say I should not have withheld the rent, but because of all the things that were going on, I felt like that's what needed to be done. And 6 months later, the kitchen still was never finished, and neither was any of the promises that he had stated. Then he ended up stalking me and fucking showing up at my mother's house trying to take pictures of people. Like, no. Anyway, that is the story on my crazy landlord, my landlord from hell. I hope he goes back to where he came from and that he rots there. Realistically, like, no, it was, ugh. Anyway, I love you all, and I will definitely see you in the next one.